Okay, with lesson 6.5, the topic for, at least the way the book sets it up, is completing the square. However, for the purpose of this class, we are not going to use that. Completing the square is actually just a method. It's a technique that can be used to change something, an equation that's in standard form like this, and get it into vertex form. However, personally, I don't think it's the easiest way. I don't think it's the easiest approach to doing it. And I see students make a lot of mistakes in their algebra when they use the completing the square. So I like to use this a different method. And in doing this one, we actually first find the vertex and then put it in vertex form. So here's how we're going to do that. First off, remember that a vertex is the point HK. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find out what H is. H is always going to be the opposite of B divided by 2A. Now notice I didn't say negative B divided by 2A. You want to look at this as being the opposite, a negative as being the opposite. It'll help you in case B is already negative. Just remember that we take the opposite of it, so in that case we would make it positive. So first step is to use this little formula, opposite of B divided by 2A. Once we have what H is, the next step is to find K, which remember is the same as your Y value. So K is your Y value for your vertex. So to find K, by replacing X with the value H that we just found and solve it. Because you're going to be given an equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. You're going to be given an equation in that form. So if I already know what my x value is, which is h, I can plug that in here, and that will help me figure out what y is. And then, once I know what my vertex is, our third step is to rewrite the equation in vertex form. And vertex form is y minus k equals a times x minus h squared. So it only takes 3 steps to do this. They're very simple steps. So let's look at an example so you can see how easy this really is. So we're given the equation y equals x squared plus 12x plus 3. Our goal is to get it in vertex form. Now the way the book set this up is they use completing the square to get the vertex form, and then once they have it in vertex form they can find the vertex. We're going to do it the opposite direction. We're going to first find the vertex, and then we're going to get it in vertex form. So remember, the vertex is that point HK. So to find out what H is, it's the opposite of B divided by 2A. B in this case is 12, so the opposite of that is negative 12. A, well, is just 1, so 2 times 1 is just 2, so it gives us negative 6. So our vertex is going to have the coordinate negative 6. Well, now we need to figure out what the y value is for our vertex. So to figure that out, remember we put our value for h, which is in this case negative 6. We're going to put that in this equation for x. So it's going to be, to find y, it's going to be negative 6 squared plus 12 times negative 6 plus 3. Well, negative 6 when you square it is a positive 36. And 12 times negative 6 is a negative 72. Well, 36 minus 72 is negative 36 plus 3 is negative 33. So our vertex here is going to be the point negative 6, negative 33. Now remember, vertex form is y minus whatever k is equaling a times x minus h squared. Let's talk about a for a second. Don't forget that whatever this number is in front of the x squared, that's your value for a. So for this particular problem, if it's just a 1, we don't need to put anything there, but just know in the future if there's a 3x squared or a 5x squared or negative 2x squared, that the value that's in front of the x squared needs to go in that position. So for this problem, we're going to have y minus my k value, so y minus negative 33 becomes y plus 33, equals, again, a, which we just have as 1, times x minus my x value, which is negative 6, so it's going to become x plus 6 squared. And that's how easy it is. Very simple process. So once you guys apply that same process now for this next problem, now I need to change that. I copied and pasted and forgot to change the equation. We're going to use x squared plus 10x minus 4. So use that equation to get it in vertex form. So again, your first step is actually find the vertex and then get it in that form. So why don't you pause the video and hit play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, so let's see how you did. Again, your first step is to find the vertex, h and k. So to find out what h is, it's the opposite of b. In this case, it's 10. So the opposite of 10 is negative 10. A, again, is 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. So we get negative 5 as our value for h. To find out what k is, I put that negative 5 back into the equation. So it's going to be y equals negative 5 squared plus 10 times negative 5 minus 4. Negative 5, when you square that, is a positive 25. 10 times negative 5 is a negative 50 minus 4. 25 plus a negative 50 is a negative 25 minus 4 is a negative 29. So that's your vertex, negative 5, negative 29. So the vertex form would be y minus k, so y minus negative 29 becomes y plus 29, equals my a, well, a again is just 1, times x minus my x value, so it's going to become x plus 5 squared. So that's the answer she'd have gotten for that next example. Well, let's apply this to a story problem. Here it says, suppose a ball is thrown straight up from a height of 12 feet with an initial velocity of 32 feet per second. Notice how they already put it in the formula for us for the height of a ball after a certain amount of time. So again, our goal is to rewrite the formula in vertex form. Well, the first step we're going to do that is we're going to find the vertex. Now, a lot of times, like if this was an MCA test, they're not going to ask for the vertex form. They might ask us for the maximum height of the ball. Well, that's going to be the vertex. It's actually going to be the y value for the vertex, because the x value represents the time, the y represents the height. So to find the maximum height, we need to find the vertex. So to do that, again, the h value is going to be the opposite of b divided by 2a, so it's going to be negative 32. Opposite of 32 is negative 32. Divided by 2 times a. A in this case is a negative 16, so 2 times negative 16 is negative 32. Well, that gives me 1. What that means is that the ball reaches a maximum height after 1 second. Well, that's not what it asks for. It asks for what's the maximum height. So to find the maximum height, I'm going to put 1 in for x. So it's going to be negative 16 times 1 squared plus 32 times 1 plus 12. Well, 1 squared is 1 times negative 16 is negative 16. 32 times 1 is still 32. Negative 16 plus 32 is 16 plus 12 is 28. So that means our maximum height is 28 feet. That's another reason why this method is so much better to use, because like I said, most times they're not going to ask for the other equation. They're going to ask for the maximum height if it's a story problem, in which case we can get directly to that answer. Where now, if we wanted to go back and find the equation, it would just be y minus my y value, which we just found is 28, equals a, which is negative 16, times x minus my x value, which is 1 squared. Okay, why don't you guys do the same thing for the next one. It says suppose a ball is thrown straight up from a height of 6 feet this time, with an initial velocity now of 48 feet per second. So they give us the equation, y equals negative 16 x squared plus 48x plus 6. Technically, we don't need that because we were given the formula to be able to find that earlier in this chapter, but they give it to us anyways for now. So we're going to find the formula and the maximum height of the ball. But again, you want to start with part B and then work your way to part A. So why don't you pause the video and hit play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, let's see how you did. Again, our first step is to find the vertex. We're going to take the opposite of B. In this case, B is 48, so it's going to be negative 48. Divided by 2A, well, negative 16 times 2 is negative 32. When you divide these two, negative 48 divided by negative 32 gives you 1.5. So now when we go to solve this to find out what my value is for y, I would take negative 16 times 1.5 squared plus 48 times 1.5 plus 6. When you do that, you end up getting 42 as your answer. So the maximum height that the ball reaches in this situation would have been 42 feet. But to find the vertex form, we would say now y minus that y value, which is 42, equals a, which is negative 16, times x minus your h value, or your x value for your vertex, which is 1.5, quantity squared. So hopefully you have the idea, hopefully that you understand how to find the vertex. And if you want to see just how much easier it is, check out the book and the way the book uses the perfect square to come up with these equations, and you'll maybe appreciate this even more of how much easier this is. So good luck on that assignment.